Okay, so attacking will be next. The attacking motion, broken down into two separate areas. We have jumping, and then we have the arm swing. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get the kids in jumping position. Jumping position, toes right below knees, knees right below hips. Okay, this will maximize power vertically. Versus if feet are too wide, and the example that I give, I make kids get into this position and attempt to jump. Okay, they bend their legs, all of their power goes in versus up. So, feet right below your hips. Knees obviously in line. You want everything to line up when you're attacking. Common mistake that you'll see, feet are a little too wide and knees bend in like this. This again, you're losing power, but more importantly, you could be creating a tracking issue. So your kneecap is meant to track straight up and down. It is not meant to go sideways like this. So everything needs to be lined up. Biomechanically, this is the best way that your body works. So your feet need to be right below your hips. Okay. Athletes that struggle with this, tell them to get their feet together. Because they'll do this, tell them to literally jump with their feet together. They'll think they feel like this, but in reality, they're gonna be like this. So get your feet together when you jump, feet together when you jump. Okay, so this is jumping position. Arms are all the way back. Shoulders are down a little bit, not like this. This is not correct. You'll tell hitters to get low when they plant, and that's what they'll do. So they'll go like this. They'll be like, is this low? Well, no. Bending your legs makes you low, not just bending at your back. Okay, so shoulders are down a little bit, just like this. Arms are back, and then you explode up. Question is, how do you get into that position? Because that's the most difficult part for the kids. They will put themselves in this position. They will put themselves in this position. How do we get them into this position every single time? Well, I change the words on it. Instead of saying left, right, jump, or for, let's try that again. For right-handed people, it's always going to be right, left, jump. So instead of saying right, left, I say jump forward, jump up. So what they'll do is they'll put all their weight on their left foot, which is great, and they're going to do a two-step approach. What I'm going to say is I'm going to say literally jump forward and land on 2 feet. And then they start to do this, which is exactly what we want. Versus if they go 1 foot then the other, they will automatically have a tendency to do this, automatically. So we'll say jump forward, pull your weight on your left. Now jump forward, land on 2 feet, and jump up in the air. Now will they land on 2 feet in a game before they jump? No, they won't. It'll be right, left. It'll happen really quick, but you'll see that. So a normal approach with 3 steps is left, left for a right-handed person. It's going to be left, right, left. That's how I approach. And that's kind of how my feet sound when I approach too. Now notice everything stays lined up with the direction that I'm traveling. Ideally, when we're attacking, we attack at an angle because it's more deceptive. If I'm going straight toward my blocker, it is very easy for my blocker to line up. If I go at an angle, it is much more difficult. Because if Kylie is my blocker, you're a huge blocker, you love being a blocker. Be a blocker right there. And I approach in. Okay, so I'm going to go left, right, left. Well, technically she's in front of me. But she's not near the right spot where she should be because I came in this way. So she needs to be way over there. Nope. Just like that. And now, hey, that's awesome. I love when that happens. Because then I turn and hit the line. So coming in at an angle is very, very important. We teach the kids to come in at approximately a 45-degree angle. If you're right-handed, you go left to right, usually. If you're right-handed, you go right to left, usually. But we always keep our toes pointed the direction we're moving. And there's a reason for that. It's a fancy word that the kids like called torque. So, I approach in. Not only is it deceptive to my blocker, but I approach in, I plant, and we should always have our shoulders facing our center when we jump. or at least 4 right-handed players to the right. And now my body is twisted. We've created torque. Torque is power from twisting. So if I were to, let's say I'm coming in at that 45, and my center is over there, and I turn my feet. If I do this, if I come in and I turn my feet like this, do I have any torque? Nope, I don't, because my shoulders are already facing the center. I'm not twisted at all. And what we want is we want turning power. So I come in at my 45, I plant, and I have torque. The other reason we keep our feet pointed that direction is because, again, we're talking about momentum. I know we're talking a lot about science and stuff today, but kids need to start understanding science in order to understand why we do the things we do. So we have momentum going forward, okay? Momentum's going this way, this way, this way, and I turn my feet. Where's my momentum going? Yep, it's gonna make my hips slide. Okay, you'll see middles do this a lot. So middles usually start in the middle of the court, and then they go approach and they hit a A, which is that way. And you'll see them approach like this, and then turn their feet. And what happens? They fall out of their plant. They wind up all on one leg because they turn their feet at the last second. The momentum is going this way, and now they're almost drifting through it. Versus, I'm going that way, I'm going to keep my toes that way as much as I can and just turn my shoulders. Again, now I have a ton more power too, and everything stayed lined up. If everything stays lined up, I'm going to jump higher. Zoe Barr plays at St. Kate's with Kylie. She's not extraordinarily gifted in the vertical sense. Okay? So she's a middle. She would approach to the left. She'd turn her feet, and she wasn't strong enough, so she'd fall out of her plant, and she could never jump again. And she wondered why she couldn't hit an A. So we changed it. We said, you know what, you have to be able to jump. So you have to keep your toes pointed that way. She jumps, and then she turns her shoulders, and she can hit now. Yes? Big difference, correct? And it's because of how her feet are pointed. And her momentum is taking her that direction, so I have to keep my feet pointed that way, momentum is going to go up. A lot of coaches say that turning that foot at the end keeps them from going into the net. I disagree. Getting your foot a little bit further forward will keep you from going into the net. So if I do this, left, right, left and turn, now I'm really twisting my lower half. You're right, I've stopped my momentum from going forward, but the same thing would happen if I did this. Left, right, left. I have stopped my momentum from going forward. This foot is further forward than this one, so it'll keep me going up versus having to do this. So when I approach, if you watch, I'll jump straight up. Okay, just watch my feet, there's my 45, so it's left, right, left. Does that make sense? Yes? I don't need to do, watch it again. Left, right, left to stop my momentum. Okay, because then I didn't jump as high. And I don't need to do it. I jump maybe this far forward, that's okay. Like you're gonna jump forward a little bit when you hit. I'd much rather have that than you being in a twisted position, not jumping high, and also possibly injuring yourself. Because this is where injuries come from. Injuries come from things not being lined up properly. Questions about your approach. So ideally, 3-step approach, left, right, left, but I'm really going away from teaching a certain amount of steps. I'm going more toward do your last 2 steps correctly every time. It's always right, left, jump. Always, always, always. Doesn't matter how many steps you take before that, because this is a good approach. Okay, so let's pretend I'm in surface eve and pass the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I go up in the air. Or I'm really late, 2 and I'm up in the air. So the last 2 steps are by far the most important part of your approach. So now we talk about the most important part of your approach. Now the most important part of attacking in general. Again, same as serving, is your relationship with the ball. Where is the ball on contact? If it's slightly in front of your attacking shoulder, as high as you can reach, you're going to be darn successful. If it's too far forward, it's going down in the net. If it's behind you, it's going out. Right, right, left, left. Okay, so it's really about your relationship again. And how you get there is obviously very important. So last 2 steps of your approach to get the ball slightly in front of your attacking shoulder as high as you can reach. Questions about the approach? Notice I did different angles. Ideally, yes, for right-handed people, left to right. There will be times where I go right to left. Middles do it all the time. Middles go right to left on that A all the time. So, they start in the middle of the court, they go right to left with their approach. That's fine. Just make sure everything stays lined up. With the younger kids, I would almost always have them go left to right if they're right-handed. With the older kids, probably 14s, 15s, through 18s, they have to practice both, because both are going to happen in the game quite frequently. How many times has an outside hitter been inside the court and the ball is delivered out there and they didn't have time to transition all the way out? Well, they always have time to transition all the way out, but if they don't, they have to know how to do an approach like this to still attack. So they have to learn to go right to left.
What about when they're hitting a 9?
When they're hitting a 9, what I encourage right-handed people to do is to start on the court. I don't encourage them to start off the court for 2 reasons. One, it makes that inside ball, the one that the setter's probably going to miss, like right above their head, can't hit it. I'm going to wind up tipping that or free balling it over. If I start on the court, they can probably get to it. And if the setter sets it too far, I can still probably get to that as well. It also allows my right-handed players to take a better angle so it's easier to hit the line. They can hit both shots if they're going, let's say I'm going straight ahead, the line is right in front of me, I'm on the right side, and I do this, it's very easy for me to hit the line. I can do this, straight down the line. Or I can turn it across. If I'm coming from over here, and the antenna's over there, it's a really difficult move for me to come in, plant correctly, and get up and do this, and turn and hit the line. I know players that do it. They play on Olympic teams. They do. I mean, I have seen Taiba Hanif do that move. She's off the court, she comes in, she plants correctly, she goes up and she does this and rips it straight down the line. I've seen that. Can our kids do that? No.
She's right here.
And she's right here. So, but I've seen that. It's just, I mean, elite level players can do that. We teach them, go straight in, rip it down the line if you want, or hit it cross. Because what our kids will usually do is they'll come in at this angle and to hit the line, they wind up hitting a shot down the line, where they cut the ball. They cut it down the line. I don't want you to cut it down the line. I want you to blast it down the line. I want you to hammer it down the line every time. So
is this kind of a giveaway to the block though?
No, because you can always turn. So I can come in like this and I show the line and I just turn and I rip it cross court. It's just like you would on the outside. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to show cross court, and I'm going to turn and rip it down the line. So it's exactly the same on the other side of the court. I don't, however, teach this. Some coaches do. Some coaches will teach players to be in here so that they do a left to right approach. Just like that. I don't teach that because they're not going to get to the ball all the way outside the antenna. The setter does miss there. And it's a lot more difficult of a turn to be able to do. So, does that make sense? Answer your question? Good. So again, most important part of attacking, relationship with the ball, slightly in front of your attacking shoulder as high as you can reach. Part of the ball, of course, is the top of the ball. If you have players under the ball, it's going way out. What about roll shots? What's a roll shot? A roll shot is simply a ball that I didn't hit hard. That's it. This is not a roll shot. I don't know what that is, Corey. I've seen you do it. Oh, I have no idea what it is. This is shot put. We don't do shot put. We never practice this move. We never do this move. A roll shot is simply your arm swing, nice and easy. Coaches, it's a changeup, exactly. In baseball, it would be a changeup. I don't change my throwing motion in baseball to throw a pitch slower because the batter will hit it out of the park. It has to look the same. So a roll shot, I'm gonna hit one at Coach Tina, looks exactly like this, all the way back, all the way through. Full arm swing, all the way back, all the way through. Which brings us to arm swing. Arm swing is the throwing motion. Your throwing motion and your arm swing are identical. Okay? This is throwing, this is attacking. They're the same. So we teach kids how to throw. That's how we teach their arm swing. So you'll see we break down the throwing motion, just like I was taught when I played baseball. Okay? We're on our knees to start. And we're working on this move right here. So I ball my hand, my arm goes all the way back, and I throw. I turn all the way through. I do it again, all the way back, all the way through. Because when pitchers pitch, they're probably the most pronounced at this. You'll see a pitcher come in and they'll throw like this, correct? Every time. That motion, we generate on our knees. Like this. Because it teaches our lower body to do the correct thing, where our right hip stays back. Otherwise, you get into that move that I was talking about earlier, where they start doing this thing. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. It's an exaggeration. So, what I want them to do is start on their knees and do a throwing motion and turn all the way through. Then they stand with their feet on the line. No moving your feet. Turn all the way back, turn all the way through and throw. Now the thing that you're going to see on this, is you're going to see them start going sideways. Like this. They're going to throw side up. Up to down. So I start with the ball back and the ball goes up and my hand goes down. And that'll take away the sidearm stuff. But they still turn all the way. Now a lot of players, because they see me do it, and they think I swing across my body. I don't. This is a shot. It's a great shot to be able to learn and use, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm simply, watch this, turning my shoulders and letting my arm relax. That's it. So I'm going to throw, I'm going to turn, and my arm just goes that way. It's not forcing it this way like this. That makes sense? Yes? Okay, good. Then I'll have them step and throw, only step with your left, throw all the way through. After we've done all of our throwing, toss with two hands. And why do we toss with two hands, Kylene? It's the arms part. So it's exactly the same as attacking. So if I'm attacking, my arms go up because I've jumped. And then they go back, and then I swing. So when I toss to myself, and I'm warming up my arm, I toss two hands, my arm goes back, my left arm stays up, and then I drive down. We talked to the kids about their shoulders being connected. Your shoulders are connected. They work opposite each other. So if my left arm starts up and forward, and I drive my left arm down and back, my right arm therefore goes up and forward. So they work together, they just work opposite each other. So when they toss, that left arm stays way up, right arm goes back, we drive down and back, which makes our right arm go up and forward. And when they're finished attacking, if they're doing an overpowering attack, which is what we're working on right now, we're working on overpowering the defense, hitting it so hard they can't dig it, even if it's right at them. Okay, I want to see them turn all the way through. So their head might be facing forward, but their chest is facing to the left. This is turning all the way through. Okay, it's not this. Okay, this actually decreased your power because you were bringing your arm back instead of allowing it to do what it was doing, which was going forward. So let it go forward, let it finish its move forward, and then it'll take you over to the other side. Versus forcing it to come back this way and stay on the right side of your body. There's the biomechanics of it is pronation versus supination. Okay? What we want to do is we want our thumb to go up, not down. if our thumb goes down, this is the natural motion that slows your arm down. Natural motion. This is what your arm automatically does every single time to slow itself down so it doesn't rip your rotator off. Your thumb goes down. If you force this early, look, it will slow your arm down versus allowing it a little bit longer, but then you see at the end, it went down.
So how do you teach that to your middles when you want them to hit to the right?
When you want them to hit that way?
No, you want them to hit like I'm facing the net. If you want to hit the cut shot to the right, how do you?
No, you do. That's the guy who teaches. It's a shot. It's not overpowering. Because we're working at overpowering. Rip it as hard as you can. Okay, then we have two wonderful shots that we learned too, which is thumb down, which makes the ball go to the right, and then swing across your body, which makes the ball go to the left. And your thumb stays up for that one. Advanced. 15's yes, for sure. Okay, so that's a throwing motion. Again, we break it down. They start throwing on their knees, they stand up, toes, only step with your left, then toss to yourself with two hands, only step with your left, and then we can go into adding, putting those two skills together. We've worked on the arm swing, of course we hit the top of the ball. But then we can put we put jumping and swinging together. And the way we do that is by doing attacking progression. Our attacking progression is very simple. Kylie, last time. Come on. So we're gonna pretend the net's right here. And because Kylie's Munchkin, she knows she has to be off the net. Munchkins, when they're on the net, they want the ball to go over. So they will do whatever they need to do to make it go over, including shot put. They do it all the time, but when they're back off the net, they will swing through. They will, because they know that they can still make it go over the net. So the shorter the player, the further they are off the net. Kylene, even when she played, and she jumps really well, we would never set her or want to inside of the 5-foot line. She's too small. Okay, she needs all of those angles on the 18th level to be able to hit past the block, versus the closer you get, the more the angles shrink unless you're elevating with the block too. So she needs to be off the net. Munchkins, way off the net. And then they will be very successful swinging all the way through. Okay, so the first thing we would do is we would have Kylene in jumping position. And toss her. She doesn't move. And toss it, she jumps, she hits. That's it. So we're just working on jumping position. The tosser, again, really important. But the great thing about this is you can teach the kids to toss like that. They can be terrible and instantly be better because all they have to do is the same thing as passing. All they do is hold. So pass and hold, toss and hold, and the ball will stay up in the air longer. So toss and hold, ball goes up, Kylie jumps and rips it. Now the middles, they only attack quick. That's it. Even in this drill, no steps. I'm going to toss it right above the net. You got to figure out how to hit it. And they do, and they do it really quickly. Then what we do, so the outsides again, the outsides are going to do a higher ball. The middles are going to do it quick. For you, they might both do a higher ball, especially to start. Maybe. Probably a little bit of both for you. Okay? No? Yes? No, they stink. Okay. So then what we do is we do two steps. So Kylene backs up. Okay, she has all of her weight on her left foot. I toss, jump in position, jump and hit. That's it. So we're working on the last two steps of our approach. Then finally, if we want to, we can add the third step. Now when we add the third step in this drill, if you have a tosser, it's really important that they notify the hitter that they're going to start tossing. And the way they do that is by holding the ball up with their head and then dropping it down before they toss. Because the hitter is actually going to need this to take their first step. Or at least start, but not finish. Thank you. What we're working on here in this drill, multiple things. Jumping position, last two steps of your approach. But we're always working on this wonderful thing called timing, which eludes them completely. Their timing is always off. But if you break it down like this and they only have to judge the ball in one plane of motion. It's just going up and down. The ball's just going up and down. It's not going side to side yet, just up and down. That helps their timing. But once they have to start perceiving the ball's height and its distance, it's more difficult. So we wouldn't be able to work on our jumping position as effectively if they also have to perceive the ball from distance. So we toss it straight up. Just working on our jumping position. It also makes it easier for the tossing. You just gotta toss it straight up, that's it. And then we do no steps, we do 2 steps, we do 3 steps. Again, with the 3rd step, start the ball up, drop it down, then toss.
Are you opening and closing?
Ideally, yes. Ideally, yep, we do a full throwing motion where we start, we open up and create some torque,
Right.
and then we turn all the way through every time. Whenever I'm teaching a skill, I always start with the most important thing, and they have to do the most important thing. So passing, they have to hold first. If they're not holding, I'm not going to tell them anything else until they hold. Then I'm going to say, be balanced, because that's probably the second most important thing. After balance, it might be keep your legs bent. Okay, so they're balanced and they're holding, but I see a lot of this. Well, okay, it's on your midline. It's probably going straight up in the air, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Now we keep our legs bent, and now we're even better. So I'm always going to pick out kind of the one thing in the progression as to what's most important. I'm not going to give them 15 things to work on. No way. It'll be 1, if I think they can handle it, 2. And I will always make sure that they happen at different times. So in Maddie's case, Maddie, you're going to work on max jumping. Okay, because that happens first. Then when you're done, your right shoulder needs to be closer to the net than your left shoulder, which is going to force her to turn. Does that make sense? So they happen at different times. It's not like I'm saying it would be closer in timing. Maddie, you're going to work on max jumping and throwing your arms up and back. Those happen right after each other. I'd want to do one before the other. Maddie, max jump. Maddie, max jump. Maddie, max jump. Break your max jumping now. Now, just focus on getting your arm back. Hopefully she'll continue to max jump. But I wouldn't have her do both of those here just too close together. If it's at the end, great, it's at the end. Does that make sense? Other questions about attack? Talk about approach angle, talk about arm swing, the 2 shots that we can hit. Cut shot that goes to the right, we simply hit the left side of the ball. That's it. And automatically when we hit the left side, our thumb goes down. And that's how we cut the ball. Now when we cut the ball, we cannot expect the ball to make a drastic change in direction. It's going to make a small change in direction. Probably, I would say 30 degrees at the most. Okay, if you cut it pretty hard, it's going to be here. It's not going over there. Okay, so you hit the inside part of the ball, and it's probably going to go like if I'm swinging straight ahead, because my arm swing stays exactly the same. Okay, same. Inside part of the ball, where did I hit it? Right at you, correct?
Right.
You're about 30 degrees. Yeah, exactly. So the top left corner of the ball. So not the very top. If you hit the very top, it's going to go straight ahead. If you hit the very side, it's going to go sideways.
Right.
So it's the top left corner. Swinging across your body, that is an arm swing change. So instead of swinging forward, I'm going to swing across like this. Now, when we're doing that move in particular, the ball has to be in the correct spot. The ball has to be to our left a little bit. It makes sense, because if I'm going to swing to my left, the ball has to be to my left. It can't be to my right and then force it over here. It doesn't work. So we want to get the ball just a little bit to our left when we're swinging across our body. Other questions about attacking? We got everything. Arm swing, approach, different kinds of approaches, different kinds of shots. Timing. Great question. What I always ask the kids is, when do I finish my approach? Doesn't matter when you start. You can start whenever you want. Finish at the right time. So, example, person is back in the serve receive. The ball gets passed. They start their approach. So it doesn't matter when you start. What matters is when you take your last 2 steps. Now for a middle, if they're hitting it quick, it's gonna be at a specific time. Like, you're gonna take your last 2 steps when the ball's this far away from the setter's hands, going in. And you'll be on time, every time. Okay? For an outside hitter, it's a little different because what do they have to do? They have to perceive the ball. And usually they take their last 2 steps when the ball's at its highest point. Because by then, they've figured out where it's going, and then they can finish to that spot. If they finish too early, they're gonna wind up in a non-jumping position. So they have to wait till they know where it's going before they finish their approach and take those last 2 steps. Does that answer your question, Coach Tina? So again, this is where that attacking progression comes in tremendously because we work 2 steps all the time. And I consider taking my last 2 steps as finishing my approach. Not starting, because I can take as many steps as I want. The finish is the last 2 steps. Other coaches might view it a little differently, and they might say, for a middle in particular, you need to be planted when the ball's in the setter's hands. That makes sense? And it's the exact same timing as what I'm talking about. When the ball's this far away, you take your last 2 steps, which in this amount of time, I guarantee that a middle can get their last 2 steps done. The problem is they always leave when it's this far away, and then they're super early. I see Maddie do it quite a bit. So
I always want to know just to go with the ball. Go with the pass.
chase the ball.
Chase the ball.
If they go with the ball, they're going to go as the same speed as the ball,
Right.
which could be really slow. It's a slow pass.
Okay.
Maybe pass at the target, winds up being slow, the middle goes in with the same speed as the ball, versus just wait till it's this far out of her hands,
Okay.
then explode at it.
All right.
So
Yeah.
it should, the ball literally should get in front of you. You should be chasing the ball.
Chase the ball.
And then, of course, you catch up to it.
But that makes sense.
So wait till it's this far away and then finish really fast.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you for reminding me. Other questions? Attacking method. You got it? Good. The only difference between passing posture and defensive posture is defensive posture is lower. The biggest thing about defense, your platform leads you wherever you go on defense. If your feet catch up, that is ideal. I want my feet to be there. I want to be balanced just like I was before. However, if my platform is not there, I cannot make a play. And it also doesn't make sense to try to get my feet there and at the last second throw my arms out. So I let my platform lead me to the ball. My feet aren't there, well, I just played it. Great, played it. If I can get in position, awesome, spectacular, that's what we want. But we want our platform to lead us on defense. Platform leads us everywhere we go. How we initiate the movement is actually with our forehead. Our forehead needs to drive to the ball. I do not want my hips to drive to the ball. My hips drive to the ball, my weight goes back. If my forehead drives to the ball on defense, my platform is going to be out in front of me and I'm going to make a play. Another reason to do this is because it's not a limiting move. There are some coaches that I worked for that teach this jab step thing where they want you to do this. This is a limiting move. I can't do anything from this position. Okay, so the ball's here, correct? I have 2 options to play. I have this move, or I have this move, which could lead to this move. So if I let my platform lead me, we can do kind of here a ball for me. We can expand the range of balls they can play. And that's our goal on defense, to play balls that are further and further and further away from us every single time. So come on up, Pat. You're not going to draw it anymore. So the ball's to my right. Just a little bit. Good. The ball's to my right, it's going to be here. Instead of doing this move to play it, which also does what for my shoulders? We talked about this earlier about taking one step. It does nothing for my shoulders. My shoulders stay the same, and you saw the reaction with the ball. It keeps going that way. Okay? Now, platform first. The ball goes back the way. Okay, so we let our platform lead us. Then, what I can do, so instead of stopping here like this and limiting my movement to this ball, I can get that one out. Just because I'm leading with my platform, my feet are following. Right? You had a notion go through there, and I had a comment about it, but I forgot my comment. What was your notion that was going on?
With your shoulders.
Yeah, yep.
What it's doing is taking the ball out of the way. So you want to go, if this is reversed, you want to go back in.
Yes.
You never want to go out.
Yes. So, good try. Thank you. So, again, a baseball analogy. Shortstop fields a ball between the shortstop and the third baseman. Okay, so his momentum is taking him that way. Your brain is tremendously intelligent. And the way that I know that is by, I don't have time for it. Well, I can take off my shoe, I can toss it right to Jen. I didn't need to think about how much power to do that. I did not need to think about the angle to do it. How's that? Oh, see? Her body's good too. Okay, so your body is going to calculate things for you really well and really quickly. However, your body does not do well if you change the game at the last second. So if I'm moving this way, right, this is why I thought of it. I'm moving this way and I play it and I keep moving. The ball has a tendency to go back because that's where I was aiming. Shortstop, going to the right. Shortstop fields the ball, throws, they keep running, correct? Have you ever seen a shortstop, maybe in Little League, fields the ball like this and all of a sudden they stop and the ball goes that way. Same thing on defense and same thing with that move that you're talking about. On defense, we want to accelerate through the ball so it goes back the other direction. If we stop or slow down, the ball has a tendency to keep going that direction. So thank you for reminding me. So platform leads you and we accelerate through. Other things on defense. When we do recovery moves, because that's exactly what they are. We've played the ball, then we recover from playing the ball. It's not a move to take us to the ball, it's a move to use after we've already played the ball. Those moves need to be fast too. If I go to the right and my knee hits the floor, that means I'm going slow. If I'm going to the right and I extend my legs, I'm probably going to be going faster, which makes the ball go back the other way. So even when we're doing those moves, we want to accelerate through the move versus slowing down. Good. We can teach recovery moves a different day. We'll probably do it at those first few practices. But defense, your platform always leads you around, and we train movement on defense. So we train the moves that we want to use. You can have your boots on, I think. So the first thing that we do, come on out, right here, we're on the 10-foot line. She loves this. This is her favorite thing to do. It's called movement training. There's no ball, right? So she's just going to be really, really well in the start. She's going to be in defensive posture. It's good to lower. You should be able to touch the floor comfortably. Yeah, just like that. This is good defensive posture. Okay? And now this is a defensive posture for a specific defense that we play. We play a perimeter defense when we're on the exterior of the court. This makes sense that our weight would be down and forward because every ball that we need to play is in front of us. And this position makes it easy to go forward. If we play a different kind of defense, like a three-person across defense, you might need to be more upright because you might need to play a ball that's deep with your hands and you're not going to have time to move back. So this is the one that we use, so nice and low. Good. And the next thing we do is we teach her how to move like this. So we do shuffle to the right. Good. What we would normally do is we would go from the net to the top of the line and keep going back and forth and back and forth, and we time it, and then we say stay low, and you gotta stay down there the whole time, and it gets very challenging. And I stress that word, challenging. Challenging is good. We require the kids to be challenged. We have to challenge them. It has to be difficult. Because difficult is really, really good. And then after they accomplish something difficult, like movement training, I know Corey would go, yup. Shoulders back, chest is out. Yeah, that was hard, and I did it. I accomplished that drill versus, oh, I didn't move the training again. That never happened, did it? No, it didn't. Right? So shoulders back, chest out after you accomplish something difficult. The next move we would do here, she's nice and low. She would do a big crossover, just one giant step to the side. Go. Good, it's explosive. She has boots on, so she's not going fast. She goes the other way, super fast. Like that, that's good. And she keeps going back and forth until I tell her to stop and hold again. Then the final move that we will train in movement training is shuffling back and sprinting forward. You can do shuffle back. Okay, so she shuffles back and she sprints forward back to that line. She shuffles back, she sprints forward. And that's how we train the movements that we're going to use on defense. I always start practice with that. If we're doing defense, start with movement training. Let's train some movement, and then we'll add the ball. I have 3 minutes, kind of. The other defense drill that I do a ton of is run-throughs. Because again, a run-through expands the range of balls you can play. If you need to recover later, we'll teach you how to recover. But I want to teach you to play balls that are further away from you first. Kylie, you're up. So how we teach run-throughs is another progression. Okay, so the ball starts out on the floor, just like this, and it's important that the ball starts on the 20-foot line. Okay, so Kylie's really low, this is a run-through, so she's going to run the entire time. She's not going to waddle. You will have waddlers where they want to stay in passing position and they do this thing. Okay, you put your feet together and you run to the ball. So Kylie's going to run all the way to the net and all the way back in defensive posture. On her way to the net, she's going to grab the ball. When she grabs the ball, her arms are straight. She lifts it as high as she can with straight arms. And ideally, it's to her target who's standing at the net. She stays low the whole time though, right? All right, so let's watch this. Go. And lift. Good. Perfect. And I go back with her. I put the ball back on the ground, and she goes again. And we might do 5 of these. Again, this is probably something I would time too to make sure that they're hustling. So when we do this drill, we would do 5 each, and there's 3 parts in this drill. It's pick it up off the ground, and there's catch it. I know, Kylie. So when I toss, I have to keep the ball below her hips the whole time. This would not be a run-through ball. This would be get your butt there, stop, pass. Okay? A run-through is a ball like this. I got you. Don't worry, I got you. Okay, it's below her hips. Like that, she catches it again. When she catches it, her arms are straight. She lifts it up to target. All right, the last thing she would do would be the actual run-through where she puts her platform together, but it's the same move. Ready, go. Yeah, there it was. That's perfect. Good job. Okay, that's a run-through progression.
Drive the arms up.
Yes, drive the arms up. The tendency that the kids will have, breaking their platform. Some coaches call this a J stroke. I don't know why. It doesn't really look like a J, does it? Kind of, maybe a little bit. This is an emergency move. We're not working on emergency moves right now, we're just working on a regular run-through. So will they ever use this in a game? Well, maybe. But is it ideal? Definitely not, because you have broken your platform.
What about the wrist break?
Same thing. Not ideal. If they gotta do it, they gotta do it. You gotta get that ball up. Like, the most important part of defense is, number 1, go for the ball. Go for the ball, go for the ball, go for the ball. Everything after that I can help you with. But if you don't go for the ball, I'm gonna say, go for the ball. Then I can help you. I mean, it's really that way with every single skill. Like, do something so I can do my job and coach you, because that's why I'm here. But if you're not doing anything, I can't help you. I can't. We encourage the kids to be aggressive at all times. Be aggressive. If you go up, you take a full approach, you're way up in the air, you hammer it and it goes out of bounds, I'm probably going to say, great job. Because I can help you make it go in. What I'm going to say is, that was awesome. Now this time, keep it in front of you just a little bit more, and it'll go down in. So we encourage them to be really aggressive. That's it. Great job on that run through. You can also do it a little bit to the side. You do run throughs to the side. We'll do a run through like this every now and then. So you just put the ball to the side, they run to the side, they keep running on that angle. They don't, again, like we did before, they don't wrap around towards target. They run straight at the ball, they run straight through. Their platform keeps facing that way, they just lift it with their shoulder dropped. And they can do it the other way too. If they're having difficulty cutting the ball off, because 99.9% of balls that are shanked, the ball was simply past us. So if I'm in position and the ball gets to my side, guess what? It's gone. I can't do anything about it. I must always play the ball while it's in front of my body. So I cut the ball off while it's in front and it's going to go forward. It might go flat forward, but it's going to go forward. Okay? And then at least my teammates can help me. So on defense in particular, they have to cut the ball off while it's in front of their body. And what I mean by in front is this way in front, not this way. Because there are going to be times where it gets to the side this way, but it ultimately must stay in front of your body this way. If they're having difficulty with this, I put them against the wall, and I have them throw at each other. So the wall's right behind them, so if they do this, they won't. They literally will not do it. What they'll do is they'll learn how to play it before it gets to the wall. That's it. That's a very easy drill to teach them to cut the ball off. Cut it off, cut it off, cut it off, make it go forward. Good. That's defense. Time, I forget anything.
What?
Did I forget? Okay. Okay, we will talk a little bit about systems next, but we're going to take a break. We'll have a little bit of lunch, and we will look at our contracts and that kind of stuff too. Sound good? All right. Thank you very much. Let's go meet in the lobby.